Well, at one point you started dabbling in crime.
Right.
How old were you when you first started doing that?
All that started in Jersey. All
Jersey City.
Yeah, all that started in Jersey.
Which is the car theft capital of the world, pretty much.
Yeah, all that started in Jersey. So because I was fighting a lot in Jersey because of the, joning and disrespect, naturally when you known for fighting, you get accepted by a certain crowd, right? So at that moment, that's when the hood kind of slowly accepted me. And then I started making some real friends around that time. But in the process of all that, you get introduced to all the shit that's going on in the hood too, So I tried my little weed selling. I ain't really like it. It didn't make much money.
Right.
Then I saw the little crack vials and figured out what that was. It was all, to me, it was just all trading. I didn't even know it was a crime at the time, But then I was like, damn, my homie just got locked up. He doing 10, 15 years. And I'm like, damn, for selling that shit? So I was like, nah, that shit don't add up. You know what I'm saying? And the homies that was like the kingpins, them niggas was doing life in prison, getting caught with more than 2-3 bricks. At that point, I was like, nah, this is definitely not it, right? So then I got hip to the car theft stuff because I was working at a barbershop out in Newark. And out there, niggas would be just kind of rolling around. Every time you see them, they come in new different cars. And one of my homies came, he's like, yo, man, you should get into this. This is some good money in it. And I was like, well, how much you making? He said, man, shit, I'm making like $40,000, $50,000 a week. And at that time, I was like, what? I said, but what do you do? He said, no, we just jack these cars, toss them to my man. He gets himself off with a pop. Good. All we got to do is get the cars and bring it in. That's it. Pop and deliver. Done. And they give you $10,000 a joint. And I was like, nigga, let's do it. So now at this time, I'm kind of learning. I ride, shotgun. We go get a car, take it back, and start learning the connection, understand how it was. But I wanted to get more curious, so I started to understand. Once we drop it off, what happens? So it was a Jamaican guy that was actually owner of the shop. And I came after hours to go talk to him. At first, he was kind of paranoid because he wasn't quite sure if I was connected with the feds or whatever. Because like, why, who just pops up on a nigga, So I was like, no, I just want to learn more about it, understand how this shit works. So after a while, he kind of learned my trust and he kind of showed me what was going on. Then he showed me the VIN numbers and everywhere that VIN numbers are. I didn't even know that there's over 130 places in a car where a VIN number exists.
Oh, wow.
Right.
130.
Over
so if you just scratch off the one on the dashboard, that's nothing.
That's nothing. That's just the most visible one that, they always check because it's more, convenient. And then, of course, the side of the doors. And, man, listen, like, for instance, the BMWs, them shits are engraved in the engine, literally engraved, So I started understanding and learning all that, man. I was like, man, so then I got really into it. Then my pops called and was like, listen, Atlanta's doing really, really well. I'm out here. There's a festival out here. The Olympics is coming. You should come out and visit. And I was like, all right, cool. At that time, I was making some really good money, like $25,000, $30,000 a week. And then that's when I ran to Wyclef in the barbershop as I was cutting. And he like, yo, come by the studio. My uncle, man, he put it together crazy, studio for us. And we got this group we're about to drop. So I would come by. And Clever tell you, every time I came in a different car. Pulling up, like, yo, what's up? And I was like, yeah, I'm just trying to get to this money. He's like, nigga, you need to focus on the studio. I'm telling you, this is going to be your future. This is going to be your future. So I would come, I would write, I would produce, and then I leave, hit back the streets. And then one day I just made up my mind, I'm going to Atlanta. And I went to Atlanta. And Atlanta was like paradise. Nobody knew about these cars. Nobody knew about any of this, right? So I was like, oh, this is perfect. So at this point now, I was like, okay, cool. I ain't really got the instruments, so I got to kind of put it all together. So I get to Atlanta. I start moving around. The malls. I mean, they got restaurants where luxury cars are just lining up. And sure enough, I was like, oh, this is it. So then I went the old-fashioned way, jacked a few cars. Then I was like, this shit is too complicated. And my heart wouldn't take it every time I pull a gun out on somebody to make them get out the car.
Oh, so you were actually doing armed robberies?
Yeah, because at that point, that was the only source.
Okay, so I assume you were just breaking the cars, the hot wiring.
Nah, that's too complicated. Why do all that when you could just get out?
give me the keys.
Right.
Goodbye.
So my philosophy was the quicker, the simpler, the better. Right. So then after 3 or 4 of them, I just, like I told you, my heart just wouldn't. I feel so bad. It's to the point where the last car, I found the receipt. I looked in the glove compartment, saw the address on the car, and I just took the car back with the keys in the car.
Huh.
That's when I realized, I said, man, I got to find a cleaner way to do this. Then it hit me one day. I went to this restaurant, I had the shorty with me, and the valet took my car, pulled out. And I saw him going through this box and it was a whole bunch of keys. I said, nigga, that's it right there. So just get the key boxes, right? So that became the thing. So then, whenever he go off to get the car, I just find the key, just peel anyone. It didn't matter because I just wanted to get rid of them. Then I had so many cars parked up in like parking lots and like malls and apartment complexes. I had two of my homies that one of them actually came in from Jersey named Just. He became a part of the team, but then there was another one named Maul. He was actually out of Philly. Now he was the OG of this car stuff. He taught me stuff that I didn't even know existed. But once we all kind of connected, it became like a union. And then we started peeling keys where we would go to dealerships because niggas wanted sometimes they wanted cars brand new. We called it peeling keys. We'd go peeling. We'd go to the dealership and just test drive a car and never come back, right? Right? Things like that. Or we'll walk through the dealership and sometimes dealers had a key just sitting on the table. Like they just have it sit on the table. We
just drive off with the car.
Just peel it, go outside, hit the that's the one, jump in, pull out. So it was super easy. Then I created the operation where it was like, I can tell now because I'm no longer in it, but for those who in it, you can't do it no more. The feds are all over this shit. So the crazy part, so now I will go to straight valets and be like, listen, I know you're moving these cars. Majority of these cars all got spare keys in them. So if you can find me a car with a spare key, hit me, I'll give you $500. All I want is the key and an envelope with the address on it. And it was like, cool. So then they started moving. Man, I was getting so many spares. Late night after 12, I'll find the address, GPS over there, pick up the car, and ride out. So that became the new way. It's super easy. I ain't had to pull nobody out with no weapon or nothing. Like just my phone constantly going off. Yo, we got 4 keys today. We got 5 keys today. So I was like literally about maybe 25 cars a week just from the valet service. So then we had so many cars lined up, but people that we were selling these cars to kept getting stopped and then they'd get locked up. But what I realized was none of them did major time because if you actually had the keys to the car, it would just be a plain joyriding charge, which was a misdemeanor.
Ah, okay.
Right. So I was like, man, this is the business. I'm selling each car for about 20, 25,000 a piece, right? And if you get stopped, you just get a misdemeanor charge and get a slap on the wrist. You can't beat that. Well, these niggas is taking like penitentiary chances with these drugs.
Yeah.
You got to worry about a nigga coming robbing you, kicking your door in, false deal where they wasn't planning on buying it at all, was just going to try to take it from you. You got risk of getting shot, getting killed, all this for $5,000 profit. It didn't really make sense, but this actually made sense to me. But then I said, okay, we got to make this operation all the way bulletproof. Then I had to figure out, okay, let's get insurance for these cars, right?
So you're getting insurance on stolen cars.
Right. Now we have to find a DMV connect so we can be able to get these cars registered. So that's what was the plan. I go into DMV, find the most insecure looking one. You know what I'm saying? Most time they be heavy set girls. You flirt with them a little bit, take them out to eat. You know what I'm saying? Let them know what's going on. Listen, I'm gonna send you some numbers, get these registered, and I'm gonna hit you off $1,000 every time you register a car. At this point, it was good because it was all clean numbers because it was from the dealership, not had been sold yet. So it all worked out. So with the money now, I created my chop shops. And I had 3 chop shops in Atlanta. I was bringing in so much money, at least probably $150,000, $175,000 a week, literally. But I couldn't bank this money because I didn't know how to justify it. And that's when I started taking the money and started creating, building out recording studios. So I had recording studios in Atlanta where niggas would just go in and do their demos for absolutely free because I needed to keep the studio constantly running.
So you're just laundering the money through the studio.
Right. And so at that time, studios was a cash business. So I created my entity, and then the money that I would get from the thing, I would put it into bank and just say it was from the studio. So whenever they would check, studio would constantly be busy, and I had like 3 of them. So it was so many artists that before they even had a demo out, would use my studios to actually do their demos. Because most of them ain't really had no money, it was all broke. So I just opened the studio for them to go in.